Hello and welcome to Stardew Valley in Minecraft, a new series where I build the world of Stardew Valley in Minecraft, one area at a time. For this series, I am adding a stretch goal. If I reach 10,000 subscribers, I'm committing to adding Ginger Island as part of this series. If you'd like to see that, please consider subscribing because it helps a lot. Last episode we made a bit of progress and added 2 houses, the house for George and the house for Pam. Now, of course, we're gonna cross the river and we're going to be building 2 more. Well, one of them is a house, it's Clint's. It's also the blacksmith shop and the place where you can crack geodes. Next to it is the museum, which is owned by Gunther. Now this is the place where in Stardew you collect a bunch of things across the world and bring it to the museum to fill up the collection. In Minecraft, however, many of these items don't really exist or don't really have a good representation or an origin or whatever, but I have found a couple of items that make sense to put in the museum and a couple of locations that you can get them from. I won't be revealing all of the details in today's video, but later in the episode I will go into some of the items that you'll be collecting for the museum. Where you get them from? Well, that's going to be something for you to find out later in the version that you can download. For today's build, we're going to first off collect, of course, a bunch of resources, because we need a lot of materials for opening the geodes and filling the museum filters in the redstone. This is going to ask for a mining trip. Look at this crazy underwater cave, and oh, we got a friend over there. A trident wearing, drowned riding a nautilus. Oh, that is a deadly combination. I better steer clear from that. Ooh, some diamonds. That's always nice. As an additional bonus, I also get to clear out this lovely lake here because we are going to put a lot of redstone right down here. Isn't it lovely that we get to, clear this lake out of all this water? Well, a good thing I have a couple of sponges. I'm going to put a lot of sand in here, section this off, and drain it all because I want to put a lot of redstone down here. And this is not very convenient. So yeah, time to remove this. And there we go, no more water to deal with, and hopefully this hole is big enough for my redstone. It should be. Now, however, I'm going to cover it up because I need to fill up this area so we can build our blacksmith and museum. So let's go ahead and start a time lapse. I'm going to do the terraforming and the house building. So I'll see you in just a little bit. Enjoy! Welcome back, and behind me you can see the result. We have now got a museum and the blacksmith built. Of course, this also comes with the interiors. Let's go ahead and go to the museum first. For the exterior of the museum, I kept the horizontal green lines and did a little bit of texturing in there, and I think that worked out quite well. On the inside, it is mostly a library. Of course, there is in the museum in Stardew Valley on the right side the museum collection. However, I didn't quite fit that in this one floor, so right now I have over here the desk where you donate the items to the museum, and then of course here we have the library, and in the back you can go down to see the collection of stuff in the museum. This is all of the items that you'll be sending into the museum. You'll see some ores and some valuable items, and some of these items you might not know how to get them yet, and I won't share those details yet. However, what I can share is that some of these will come from the mine, others you might need to go and find artifact spots. But more on that in later episodes. If you'd like to donate an item to the museum, you go to the desk, you drop the item in, and then you wait for the reward. Just like all the other ones, you get a confirmation ding, and when you've delivered all of the different items to the museum, you'll get the reward, the rusty key. And this, in the future, will let you enter the sewers. Then for the blacksmith, I really had fun making the exterior with the colors, the slight deep slate being a little bit darker, and then the tuff and the bricks for the rest of the building. And then of course some iron bars for the windows. I did make this one slightly taller than most buildings because that's kind of the feeling that I got looking at the blacksmith. Of course here in the future there will be a connection to the other locations for the minecart. Right now this is the only location, so this is not really functional yet. I will also be making a system where we can dispense the minecart automatically so that you won't have to break the minecart manually and that it doesn't matter where you enter or exit from, and we'll just have a surplus of carts at certain locations. But of course, this will connect to the mines and or to the bus. But those locations aren't there yet, so that is a future project. And here in the garden we have the boiler connecting to the furnace to heat it all up. Then when we go in, I decided to flip the interior a little bit, and so we have the desk on the right instead of on the left. So this is the desk where you'll be buying tools. If you'll read this, this is where it explains how to buy the tools. And then in the back here you can go ahead and open geodes. Now geodes, let's start with that because geodes are very simple. I try to keep it somewhat similar to how it works in Stardew Valley. The different tiers of geodes are depending on the level of the mine. My idea for the mine will be to have generated layers of cobblestone, stone, and basalt. And that then also connects to the tier of geode. So we only got 3 tiers where Stardew has 4, but I feel like in general what we are getting from this is still pretty much the same. I tried to keep it in sort of a theme, so for the third one, the magma geode, you'll see that nether quartz and glowstone dust is in here as optional rewards. Now how do you open a geode? You just throw in 9 of cobblestone, stone or basalt. You can also throw in more if you like, but they will only be opened 9 at a time. And then you will just get one of these random rewards. Some of these rewards have a higher drop chance than others. I won't really specify the details because they might change, and it is much more fun to just randomly get something that you really need. If, for example, you wanted to open a stone geode, you just throw in 9 stone, then you wait, and you get a random reward. Oh, I got redstone. How nice. For buying tools, this requires a little bit more, because most of these tools cost gold as a base. So for example, the first tiers you have stone axe, pickaxe, and hoe. It costs 46 gold. And these gold items will just be these. It is a gold nugget, slightly renamed. You'll be getting these as rewards for selling items, and these are used in most of the shops that I'm going to be building. Then for the next tier you have copper pickaxes, axes and hoes. They cost 92 gold and 3 copper ingots. And then for the last tier, the iron pickaxes, they cost 124 gold and 3 iron ingots. Now to buy one, you just select whichever page of the tool it is that you want. You then throw in the items right here. So right now I want to buy a stone axe, so I throw in 46 gold. Why is it not being pulled out of the barrel? Huh? And then I notice that I'm missing a hopper. Let's go ahead and quickly fix that mistake by adding a hopper right underneath the barrel like it's supposed to do. Alright, let's try that again. So to buy the stone axe, I will put in 46 gold, and then I just wait, because you have to be patient because all this gold has to make its way to the axe. And once the purchase is done, you will hear a ding to confirm your purchase, and you'll receive your reward. There it is. And we got the stone hoe instead of the stone axe. Maybe I put them in wrong. I'll have to fix that. But you get the idea. Showing you all of the functionality in Clint's blacksmith area, opening the geodes, buying tools, I would almost forget that he has another room. And since it didn't really fit on the bottom floor, I decided to add an extra floor to this house as well. And when we get up to this higher floor, we get to the bedroom and this nice cozy room. I added a bunch of windows, so he has lots of light coming in here, and a couple of nice views. For those of you that are interested in the redstone, I do want to show some of the crazy redstone that I've got going on here. This might be some of the biggest systems that I've built to date. Now over here you'll see a module. For example, over here is the copper hoe, the copper axe, and the copper pickaxe. They are lined up with an item filter at the top. And then if you go to the bottom, there is a very simple check that is being done. On one side it is checking the copper, and on the other side is checking the gold. As soon as the hopper is filled up with enough gold, this line will trigger this copper bulb. As soon as the copper bulb is on, this line will be on, disabling the input. The same goes for the copper ingots. In this one, it'll check if there's 3 ingots in there. As soon as that happens, this copper bulb will flip, disabling this input. Then, when both inputs are flipped, this one will turn, signaling a purchase, enabling both of the outputs, draining these containers, and as soon as both are empty again, the inputs will be enabled for the next purchase. And I've got that going for all of the different tools. For the stone tools, it's a little bit easier because they only check for a little bit of gold. Then over here is a very simple check for the geodes, just the item filter, and on every 9 items it will signal you have opened a geode. And then from these chests, it will show you which of the 9 rewards you will get. Then a little peek at the craziness that is the museum. Over here, I have a lot of item filters for each of the items in the museum. They are lit with item filters, and then all of the wool over here is to make sure the lamps go on for the specific item that you have in the museum. And then over here we have the same, but then for the rest of the items. As soon as all of the items have been purchased, this row of torches will be off. Same goes for the other side. This row of torches will be off, and that means that this will trigger the sound that you hear and dropping the key all the way up through the water column. Now, for those of you that have fallen asleep, I am terribly sorry, but to me this redstone is very interesting and I keep learning. Especially these copper bulbs have been such a huge deal in my opinion, and I've been very much enjoying working with copper bulbs and comparators. Something that I also wanted to give you guys a view of is this beautiful world with shaders. I can't express enough how much I would love to see vibrant visuals come to Java, and I'm very excited about it. This complementary imagined comes pretty close to the same idea. As you can see, the shadows are very pixelated, but man, Minecraft with shadows is just such a different vibe. And just imagine if lights and stuff also cast shadows. That would be ridiculously cool. Yeah, I'm very much wondering if you guys play with shaders or without. Do you guys have a preference? I usually play without shaders, but I can't help but say that this and vibrant visuals is pretty cool. That was quite a bit of work, especially the redstone for this episode. It was so much work. It's probably the thing that cost me the most time. And with that, we added quite a chunk of progress to the main town. That is all for this episode. We made quite a bit of progress. However, next episode, we're gonna make a lot more progress because oh, great, it started to rain. Well, next episode, like I said, we're going to make a lot of progress because that we're going to be building the community center and geodes center. I have some really cool ideas for that, and it is going to also mean quite a bit of a river extension and a lot of cliffs. So I'm looking forward to doing all of that, but it's going to be a lot of work. So I hope to see you then. If you like this episode and want to keep up with the series, please consider subscribing and like if you like this episode.